Forge FC is ready to take the pitch.
Simply stunning stuff. And finally, their goal. My word, what a rocket.
Now, let's get 3 keys to the match with Anthony Urciuoli on the Forge Audio Network.
Hey, Forge fans, welcome to the 3 keys to the match presented by Volkswagen. Forge FC and Valour going head-to-head again this week. Back in Winnipeg, Valour taking the first matchup, 1-0, and making the overall CPL table very interesting. Here's how it looks. Atletico Ottawa, top spot, 39 points after 22 matches. Cavalry has 37 after 22. Forge, 36, so they're 3 points at a top spot, and they played one less match than both Ottawa and Cavalry. Pacific, a point back of Forge with 35 points. Valour, though, that's the team right now who is on an absolute tear. The most in-form club in the Canadian Premier League right now. And they're only 2 points out of the top 4, which would put them in a playoff spot. And a win would likely do that for them. At the very least, it would put them in a tie with Forge in the top 4. Valour, though, has played one more match than both Forge and Pacific, the clubs they are chasing. So you know what's at stake. Only 7 matches remaining for Forge FC. And what's nice about that last match, obviously not nice that Forge lost. There's a couple things. Moses Dyer, Valour's leading scorer, will not be in the lineup because he will be suspended after getting his second yellow card in that last match in stoppage time after that skirmish happened. 12 cards in total were handed out in that match. 7 of them went to Forge. Now, I checked with the league. At the time of this recording, Forge will not have any suspensions going into that match. Now, that I don't know if that could change or not, but I was told from someone from the league at the time of this recording that there will be no Forge suspensions. At least none have been handed down. Dyer was the only one facing a suspension after that match. So good news for Forge, as Valour is now without their top scorer. Now, if you want a more detailed breakdown specifically of Valour, you can get that in the match day preview. That is available now, however you get your Forge content. And we spoke with Ed Tate, who is a Hall of Fame journalist and covers Valour as a senior reporter with Valour. So you can check that interview out and get more into the environment that Forge will be facing again in Winnipeg. It's hostile grounds, and that was evident near the end of the match there. With not only were there some let's say some physicality between the two clubs that need to be separated, a couple headlocks, a lot of shoving. Tristan Henry, Forge goalkeeper, was booed every time he touched the ball in the last few minutes by the crowd. So it's setting up to be an exciting one on Sunday, 2:00 in Winnipeg between Forge and Valour. Here are your 3 keys for Forge FC. Key number 1, take what is given. Forge appeared to force things quite a bit in that last contest between the two clubs. A lot of long balls, a lot of forced long passes that were getting intercepted. A team like Valour that plays that low block, that likes to defend, and not only defend, but something they did just brilliantly in that last match was Valour was creating turnovers with their press, which wasn't overly aggressive, but it was at times, and it caused Forge a little bit of trouble. And that low block, Valour is good at turning turnovers into offense and going into a counter. And they can do it. Now, it's going to be tougher without a guy like Dyer in their lineup, but there's still enough quality up and down that lineup to be able to hurt you on the counter. So the best way to avoid that is to not force anything. Take what's given. If there's a short pass available, take it. If there's a run, if there is a run in behind a defender, take it. Look, head up. Take what's given to you. Don't try to force anything, because that's exactly what Valour wants. Don't play Valour's game. I felt like Forge played Valour's game in that last match. For Forge to be able to dictate the tempo like they have, like they can, like they've proven time and time again, they do it playing their own style. Forget what the other team's doing. Play your game, and their game is speed, tempo, short passes, a lot of movement off the ball. Make the other team have to work to defend you. Make them go side to side. Switch the field when you can. Get Valour out of position and then take those pockets and those spots. Valour did a very good job at defending the wings. and a lot of the overlap, so the fullbacks and the wingers. It left the middle of the field open. Becker had an opportunity in the middle of the field. There were multiple instances where Forge just couldn't get, the delivery wasn't there, the final touch just wasn't there, but they weren't exploiting that area enough. The area just at the top of the box, there were gaps there. And we don't know what Forge's lineup is going to look like. They went with Jordan Hamilton up front with Borges, Chouanier. Bobby won't tell. We won't know until about an hour until kickoff who's going to be out there. We won't even know what formation they're using yet. So until then, all we know is Forge needs to do more in that space in the box area and just outside the box in the middle of the field. Work that midfield. And there are opportunities to be had there. Take them. Take what's given. Key number 2 for Forge FC. Bring your hard hat. I don't know if they brought them from Hamilton or not, but go out and get some, because we know what kind of match this is going to be. We saw it, right? 12 bookings, countless fouls, a lot of chippiness in between the play, behind the play. Now Dyer won't be in the lineup for Valour. He was a catalyst for a lot of that intensity. So who knows? Maybe it won't carry over as much. A lot of times when you get a physical kind of rough game and you're expecting, you just in your brain, you're like, well, the next one's going to be even more so because they're playing each other again. Sometimes it goes the other way. And that'll lead us into our third key, by the way. But before we get there, the hard hats, the middle of the field, there is prime real estate to be had, but you're going to have to work for it. You're going to have to win duels. You're going to have to win those 1v1s. Valour did a better job in those one-on-one situations and some of those duels and some ball battles. And Forge has to be better. I mean, we know how they can play. There's no excuse for not bringing your hard hat to this match in Winnipeg. Key number 3 for Forge FC. Discipline. There's a line. There's a way to play physical. There's a way to send a message. There's a way to play hard without crossing the line. Forge will have to be careful, especially after that last match. A lot of yellows accumulated. You don't want any suspensions going into that home match with Cavalry, because that could be a battle for first place. You don't want to be shorthanded any of your starters. Now, Forge, more than any other club in this league, can survive, a quote-unquote regular being out of the lineup, but you don't want to test it. You want everyone available, especially as Forge, we're at a point now where, unless something happened in the last match that we weren't made aware of, it looks like every week now, Forge is healthier than they were the week before. This is probably the healthiest Forge have been this season. There are guys that are getting very close to returning. Chris Nanko, Daniel Crutzen, which would be a massive addition, not just in quality, but you feel like there'd be a morale boost to get a guy like Crutzen back, who's that unfortunate injury and hasn't played yet this season. So discipline is going to be the key. Make sure your guys are available next match. Now, as time goes on, as cards accumulate, is it going to be difficult to avoid a suspension? Probably, but just stay intact. Stay intact after this match. Don't get carried away with some of that stuff, and don't get sucked in to anything. If Valour wants to play that a type of game where they want to get into Forge's head, a lot of teams like Forge who can bring skill and quality and some of that finesse, clubs like to disrupt that with more physical play, but Forge can play that way. They can play that way and still stick to their tactical philosophies. And that's what they'll have to do, is stay disciplined. So take what's given, bring your hard hat, and discipline. Those are the 3 keys for Forge FC going into Sunday's match against Valour at 2 o'clock. Before we let you go, you need to know about the September special. Saturday, September 10th at 5 o'clock, Forge hosting Cavalry FC at Tim Hortons Field. It is Forge FC plus Bench Brewing Company partnering up for a great promotion. $29.99 will get you a gold level ticket and a bench beer sampling. That's available now. Go to forgefc.ca for more information or to purchase your tickets. Okay, what a match we have in store here. Looking forward to it. Don't forget the match in review following Valour and Forge, which will be available wherever you get your Forge content. All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Forge FC is ready, and now you are too. This has been 3 Keys to the Match on the Forge Audio Network. Keep up to date on your Forge FC by subscribing to the Forge Audio Network on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.